Hello, internet fans, and welcome to 3B Video. I'm your host, Rotten Roger DeMarco, and today we're going to be ranking the Phantasm franchise. Boy! For those of you who are new to the channel, the way that I rank these videos is not based on which film is superior, which film is the best entry in each franchise, which is the most technically sound, better made films. That's not how I do it. How I do it is by the amount of fun that I have with each entry. So before you crucify me for my picks, just know that that's how I do it. It's on a very loving, fun scale, so no harm, no foul if you don't agree with me. Just don't come at me unless you want these hands. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. Coming in at number 5 is Phantasm Ravager. Probably not a surprise to most of you that this is at the bottom of my list. I will say, I've been viewing this film a couple more times this year, and I'm trying to absorb it, and I'm trying to put it on the same pedestal as I put the rest of the films from the franchise, but to me this is just a very well-made fan film. It has that cheap fan film vibe to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, if me and a group of my buddies made this movie, I would think I was the fucking shit. But it's just on a whole different level from the rest of the franchise for me. I like it, there are things about it that I really dig, but it's a bittersweet film because Angus was kind of on his last leg, and this is how we get to send him off into the sunset. It's one of those movies that I didn't expect to hit me the way that it hit me, and then when I watched all the special features, seeing Angus go back to the mausoleum and all of that stuff from the first film was pretty emotional for me. So there's an emotional connection with this film, just hasn't connected with me in that fun popcorn sense yet. So that's why it's number 5. So moving on to number 4, quite literally, is Phantasm 4, Oblivion. This is a movie that when I was growing up, I remember very vividly renting it, but then being distracted when it came time to actually watch the movie. I just didn't pay very much attention to it, and therefore the things that I picked up on was like the old Amish Angus scrim and the weird stuff with the tall man's backstory, and I missed all of the really rad practical effects and gore and stuff, so I just never quite connected with the film. Here recently, however, I've been watching it a couple more times, and it is really, really fun. So it's growing on me, and I really like it, but I haven't given it enough time to soak into all my pores, all that phantasm love, all that ectoplasm and goo. So I'm gonna watch it a couple more times, and we'll see next year how I feel about it. But right now it's towards the bottom, so that's why it's number 4. So moving on to number 3 is the original Phantasm. Here we go.
Goddamn this Rotten Roger putting these original films smack dab in the center of his franchise rankings. Who does he think he is?
I think I'm Rotten Roger. This is a movie that we all grew up with. We all love this movie. It's a muddy movie. It's weird. You got that bug in the box that comes out, does all the strange things. You've got the balsa wood coffin with the tall man picking it up and carrying it around. Cemetery dirt bike riding, gratuitous porch guitar playing. This is the first entry, so we're building all the lore of the tall man and all of the other characters. And it's a fantastic movie. It's just not as much fun as some of these other entries. So it just had to be in the middle of the list for me, which I know is blasphemy in most horror fans' eyes, but when I want to watch a Phantasm movie, I really want to just giggle. I want to have a good time. I want to see neon yellow blood. I want to see a couple of pairs of tits. There are tits in this movie. The lady in lavender, aka the tall man, whatever. I know Evil puts this up on a pedestal and he likes this movie a lot, but smack dab in the center for me. But moving on to number 2 is Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. Now we're talking. You want to talk popcorn? You want to talk super silly, fun, dumb? You've got a little kid holed up in a house all by himself who is essentially Macaulay Culkin in a horror film. He's got his house all booby-trapped. He's got a frisbee with razor blades on it. All these weird, crazy booby traps to smoke intruders. And then you've got this lady who runs around with nunchucks, nunchucking the spheres. It's just wild. You've got really inventive gore in this movie. You've got super fun dialogue. You've got titties. You've got a little kid as the lead, essentially, a new lead. It feels very fun. It feels very slapstick and silly. And I think that's why I like this movie so much. It's just this wild movie. All Phantasm movies are road movies, but this one definitely has that vibe for me. I just grew up with Phantasm 3, and it doesn't get much better when you're looking for a super silly gore fest. than Phantasm 3. So that's why it's number 2. Which means that coming in at number 1 for me is Phantasm 2.
Oh, fuck yes.
Sweet Jesus motherfucking God, do I love Phantasm 2. 4-barreled shotgun, really tiny titty girl, badass motherfuckers in gas masks that are digging up all the graves. You expand a little bit on all the dwarfs. You've got a really cool showdown with Angus Scrimm towards the end of the film. In every way, shape, or form, to me, this movie is better than the original Phantasm, which I know Evil and I get in some disputes because they recast Mike in this film. And I know that in subsequent sequels, they cast him back as the original actor. So it's a little bit of a throw-off for people when they're like, wait a minute, that's not Mike. But for me, I just accept it. I just go along with it. James LeGros is fantastic in this movie. He fills the shoes adequately. There's a really cool scene in the movie where they break into a hardware store and they start gearing up to go to war with the tall man. And that scene to me is one of the best horror movie scenes ever. Cutting the shotgun at these angles and fucking clamping it together to make a 4-barrel shotgun, getting flamethrowers, getting revolvers, gearing up, you know, that standard we're getting ready to throw down montage. For my money, it doesn't get much better than Phantasm 2. The characters are awesome, the lead up to the showdown is awesome, the showdown is awesome, the effects are fantastic. This is just as Phantasm gets, and I love it to the fucking core. So that's my list. So let me know in the comments what you like about my list, what you don't like about my list, where your list lines up with mine.
Tell me I'm full of shit.
And before you leave, make sure you click the like, subscribe, notifications, all that horse shit that I'm supposed to say. Never, never, never throw chips at a driver. In the Mouth of Madness reference, deep cut. But I suppose I should probably get going because, after all, there's a lot of movies out there. Somebody's got to watch them. So why not me? Right? Because they recast Mike in the film. And I know that later franchise... God damn it, I can't say words. Because they recast Mike for this film. And I know that in the subsequent series... Jesus, I'll get it.